the people of the country to see the construction of the Ram temple was not an easy task. There were many battles which were being fought, and unfortunately there were many who lost their lives in these battles. What's the history behind this Ram temple, for which there were many who were fighting for years? And why is it that many people had to lose their lives? Take a look.
"60-year-old Ram Ashray Darikar today is dependent on his younger son. But he had hopes that his elder son, Rajendra, would take the family name forward. He had groomed his eldest to take on the family business of basket weaving after him. Rajendra was 18 years old when he died in police firing. He was one of the 16 car sevaks who are officially listed to have died in 1990, before Ayodhya was to see its worst.
हमारे लिए तो देन वही चीज है कि जो आपको बता चुके कि हमेशा से बना रहा, बिजनेस में परस्पर से जुड़ा रहा, और हमेशा के लिए ये समझ लीजिए कि आज तक लड़का खो दिया हमने, अरमान है कि मंदिर बने। और उसके बाद हम ये नहीं चाहते कि इसका विरोध, जो जिसने विरोध किया उसके यहाँ 10-10 गाड़ियाँ, 10-10 मोटरसाइकिलें क्या खड़ी है, और हम लोग जिसकी रक्षा चाहते हैं आज तक देख लीजिए कुछ नहीं।
In 1990, BJP leader Lal Krishna Advani started his Somnath to Ayodhya Rath Yatra. The route lay across India. But the chariot was stopped at Samastipur in Bihar by the then Chief Minister Lalu Prasad Yadav. Advani was arrested. The twin towns of Ayodhya and Faizabad began to resemble a fortress as the then Janata Dal Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Mulayam Singh Yadav, fortified the area around Babri Masjid to stop car sevaks from reaching the site. But it was not enough, as VHP and Bajrang Dal activists continued to pour into Ayodhya. On October 30th, 1990, thousands of car sevaks thronged the Hanuman Gadi crossing. Despite the curfew, first-time BJP MP Uma Bharti, VHP Joint Secretary Ashok Singhal and Swami Vamdeo of the RSS led about 15,000 car sevaks towards the Babri Masjid. A few car sevaks even managed to climb the dome of the mosque and unfurl a saffron flag on top.
उस दिन मेरे ख्याल से 2 जत्थे निकले थे, एक हनुमान जी के मंदिर के सामने से, एक थोड़ा साइड से बगल से निकला। जो बगल से निकला था उसमें बिल्कुल लड़ाई ऐसे हो रही थी जैसे युद्ध हो रहे होते हैं, एक तरफ जनता और एक तरफ मुलायम सिंह का शासन।
With instructions from the Mulayam Singh government to not allow any damage to the mosque, the police resorted to firing at the crowd.
Car seva at the disputed site, they may force them in that particular, beyond the security cordon, and go, do the car seva at the disputed site, maybe the sanctum, create some kind of a trouble inside the disputed structure, break some walls and things like that.
The incident earned the Chief Minister of UP the title of Mullah Mulayam and would cost him his seat in the polarized atmosphere. In 2 different attempts, on 2 different days, official records chronicled 16 deaths in police firing. teenager Rajendra Darikar, a Bajrang Dal activist, just happened to be one of them.
आजम खान कब आए थे?
3 तारीख
A string of VIPs visited Darikars in the aftermath with a bouquet of promises that once applied balm to their pain, but today are bitter reminders of how empty they were.
इनके लिए भी कह गए नहीं, कोई मदद नहीं, कोई मदद नहीं किए, बस यही एक सकता है कि जो मदद किए।
आडवाणी भी आए, कौन-कौन लोग आए आपके पास?
आडवाणी आए थे और अशोक जी से आए थे वहाँ कार्तिवापुरम में, उनसे हम लोग मिले। और उसके बाद यहाँ उमा भारती आई थी, उनसे भी हम लोग मिले। उसके बाद लल्लू सिंह विधायक जो हैं वो भी यहाँ तक आए थे। ये बात नहीं है कि नहीं आए हों, लेकिन किसी ने आज तक कुछ नहीं।
Babri Masjid in Uttar Pradesh's Ayodhya had been built by Mir Baqi in 1528 on the orders of the Mughal Emperor Babur. The mosque was situated on a mound, and a section of the Hindu community claimed the Mughals built it by demolishing a structure that marked Ram's birthplace. This dispute that started during the British rule became the longest standing and most controversial dispute of independent India. In 1949, 2 years after independence, a Ram idol appears inside the Babri mosque. With that, both Hindu and Muslim groups go to court claiming ownership, and the site gets locked. In 1994, 2 years after the dramatic demolition of the mosque by car sevaks, the Supreme Court heard writ petitions challenging the centre's move to acquire the disputed land. It was ruled that the mosque is not integral to Islam. In April 2002, the Allahabad High Court begins hearing on who owns the disputed land and asks the Archaeological Survey of India to begin excavation to find evidence of temple. The next year, the Supreme Court ordered that to maintain communal harmony, no religious activity should take place at the site. In September of 2010, in a 2-1 majority, Allahabad High Court rules the controversial land be divided in 3 between the Sunni Waqf Board, the Nirmohi Akhada and Ram Lalla. After all 3 parties appeal, in May 2011, the Apex Court stays Allahabad High Court order on the division of land. 6 years later, in 2017, then Chief Justice of India J.S. Kehar suggests the title dispute be settled out of court, calling the matter sensitive. In August that year, he retires. In December 2017, 32 civil rights activists filed plea challenging the 2010 verdict of the Allahabad High Court, and a 3-judge bench led by then Chief Justice of India Deepak Mishra begin the final Ayodhya hearing. On 30th of September 2018, Justice Deepak Mishra retires. And the new Chief Justice of India, Ranjan Gogoi, says an appropriate bench will begin fresh hearings in the case in January. While a 5-judge constitution bench was formed in January 2019, hearings begin only in February. And then a court-monitored mediation is ordered. 8 months later, in August 2019, mediation talks fall through and daily hearings begin. On September 17, 2019, the Supreme Court sets October 18th as the deadline for final arguments to conclude.
While the court in its verdict has said that it is not interpreting questions of faith but deciding a question of land title, it has used religious observance as faith as an evidence of the claim to the land itself. Even as the Apex Court in its Ayodhya verdict condemned the demolition of the Babri Masjid as an illegal act and as a blot on the constitutional principles, it has given the disputed site over to Ram Lalla, the deity, because the Muslim side was unable to prove uninterrupted, uncontested possession for a long period of time, on the grounds that the Hindus did not stop worshipping even in the outer courtyard or the inner courtyard throughout, owing to their long-standing belief that that disputed site is actually the birthplace of Lord Ram.